Now, Will, we've got a backlog of a correspondence. So we're going to be recording another one straight after this. Back-to-back episodes for us, 2 episodes in a row for you guys. I thought it would give us a good chance to maybe get up to speed on all the people who've been in touch with us. Now, you said you heard that the chat I had with James Clement. So you heard our discussion about the Liver King, right?
Yes, I did.
That we were calling out the Liver King like a week before he got exposed. So we had someone write in and say, "Hey, well done, Charlie! Congratulations!"
Hey, for people
when you see it.
For people who don't know who the Liver King is, though, because I'm not sure that's a reference that everybody who's listening will
really
immediately understand. No, I think it's a very niche area. So here's what I would say about the Liver King: is
okay.
I don't want this year to be a year of me saying this sentence, but seeing I'm not on social media anymore, I've been amazed at things that you suddenly. The only reason I'm really familiar with Liver King is from the social media world, and being off social media, I just would not have seen that story or understood what that story was. So give people a little recap of who the Liver King is.
Well, the Liver King, it was an Instagram influencer who had an incredible rise to popularity. He was the milkshake duck, I guess, of 2022 in the sense that no one had heard of him a year ago. But I had personal experience of like, who's this dude in my feed? And me and our mate Scott, we were texting each other back and forth like clips from Liver King because it was so outrageous. But he's basically just a fitness influencer who professed an all meat lifestyle. He looked like a barbarian, big beard, and he's always eating like testicles and animal organs and all that kind of shit. Raw. And so it exploded. But like anyone who has like any idea of bodybuilding, whatever, looked at him and goes, that dude is clearly on roids. Like it wasn't
100%.
Just a ripped physique. It was a bizarre.
It was a guy on like, I mean,
cartoonish.
It was one of those things where you're like, either there are two things that are going on with this. And I'm not a person who even knows that world, but the first time I saw him, when they discovered that he wasn't entirely, using just liver for this, body that he had, I was like, yeah, how is that even a story? Like, how was there ever any doubt that that was what he was doing? Because, like, firstly, no one in the history of anything has ever had a body that looks like that. Like, it's not a real body. Like, if people ate like raw meat in the old days and they did not look like that, that's not like what would happen even if what you were doing was actually true. Secondly, why do you want to look like that? Like, that was the other thing. I was like, as he's sitting there with his bucket of testicles, like gnawing on him in his video going, you could look like me if you eat some raw testicles out of a bucket. And I'm like, well, firstly, I don't want to eat raw testicles out of a bucket. And secondly, I don't want to look like you.
Well, the Liver King's, his downfall was the fact that he denied ever using steroids. He was asked multiple times on multiple shows. And the most obvious thing in the world, he kept denying. And so it was just
people would be like, hey, you really look like you're on steroids. Are you on steroids? And he'd be like, no, what makes you think that? And everyone's like, because you look exactly like you're on steroids. So I will ask you one more time. Are you on steroids?
You know, the weirdest thing about him, which I didn't realize until pretty much this was all over, but I was reading some article about him and they're saying how he's only 5'7", which is incredibly petite. Like, that's kind of Tom Cruise size. And so those muscles are even more bizarre. Like, if you saw, it would look like a tiny little condom crammed with walnuts walking down the street towards you if you saw him.
I mean, you don't impress me much. I don't want to be all Shania Twain on your ass, Liver King, but like, you're 5'7" and like you got a bucket of fucking nuts, like a bucket of raw nuts that you're chewing on. Like, come on.
So, he was exposed, and so he did the big tearful apology and blah, 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 blah. But the interesting thing that came out of it was then there was this wider discussion around male body image and Hollywood physiques. And, I started listening to a lot of different kind of podcasters and stuff, fitness podcasters talking about, hey, look, once you're over 35, if you're a guy, it's very hard to put on mass. Like, your body stops producing testosterone. Like, you could eat, as many roast chickens and vegetables in a day, and you're not going to look like what 90% of Hollywood, that superhero physique is just, it's not natural. And why is this? There is this kind of like, no one's willing to kind of admit it, even though it's not illegal to take steroids unless you're in a competitive sport. Like, there's no reason why, The Rock couldn't come out and say, yeah, like, I use steroids. We'd all say, yeah, obviously, because you look better now than you did when you were a professional wrestler in your 20s. Like, it's insane. But one of the interesting things that one guy said was he heard The Rock doing an interview where he wasn't asked directly, do you use steroids? But he was asked, what is your fitness regime or what are your fitness goals? And The Rock was like, now I'm all about longevity. And the guy in the pod said, which is such a bizarre answer to hear from someone who's taking, like, you know, a cocktail of steroids and HGH. They shorten your life. You know, that's the great risk when you take steroids, is it makes things grow, but it makes things like cancers grow and tumors and other terrible things. So it really is risky when you take it. And I was like, oh yeah, I've never really thought about that. But like, there's an irony, or there's something happening that The Rock, who is sort of the sort of peak of physical excellence in, you know, popular culture, is dying at a rapid rate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but then I was thinking, but you know, Arnie's still around and Sly's still around, and they have admitted to like juicing, and clearly Sly is still juicing. I think Arnie's let it go, but I think Sly's still juicing, and they're still around. So maybe The Rock will be in that elite percentage of, you know, steroid users who doesn't have a heart attack at the age of, you know, 55.
Yeah, well, he's fighting two things from his past, isn't he? Like, I mean, professional wrestlers don't have a great track record of growing old gracefully. And also then you've got I mean, sometimes it's a
Growing
combination
old.
of the two.
Full stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it did make me think, like, I remember when I was training for that Men's Health shoot, and, you know, the way that you have to prep for that photo shoot, like you are literally tapering your diet and your exercise to a point that your, you know, skin tightens and your muscles bulge and you look incredibly shredded. But it is the most unnatural, unhealthy state of being. Like, you can only do it for about 8 hours because then your body needs to take fluids back in and you've got to eat normally again. It's just the irony of like, yeah, we've accepted that this is health, but then, you know, like 50 years ago, like Robert Mitchum takes off his shirt, big boobs, you know, he's got a gut, like, and that was considered like the peak of like masculinity.
I am disturbed, particularly because it's summer and, you know, living in a place where there's a beach, you see a lot of people who just aren't wearing a lot of clothes. And the thing that disturbs me are buff, like 14 and 15-year-old, like kids. You know, like, I don't mean weird. Fit. I mean...
Six-pack
gym body type kids where you're just like, I don't know, is that good? Is it okay that you're like 15 and you have like an adult's body? I remember
at high school there were dudes who were naturally cut, like they just had like muscles and, you know, they were athletic and stuff. But I don't remember anyone really going to the gym as a teenager. But B, like I'm pretty sure that like no one had a body like that. But you're right, we live in an era where like kids and grandparents are ripped.
Right.
It's fucking bizarre. It's so strange. Like when you see a really old dude and he's got that spotty brown skin, you know, and grey hair and stuff, but he's jacked, and you're like, what's going on here? Having said that, I've actually thought maybe it's time for me to take like some kind of steroids or something. Not necessarily inject steroids, but testosterone supplements or something like that, because I am getting tired. A lot.
So you're not going to take
worse the older
you're not going to take Ritalin for your ADHD, but you're happy to get on the roids. Yeah, no,
I said not steroids. I said testosterone supplements.
Well, I mean, the podcast might go in a completely different direction in that case. Then we do go into
suddenly I just get
Men's Health.
I'll just turn to fuck Joe Rogan Experience. Just and all I want to talk about is MMA and hunting.
Like, what have you been up to this way, Charlie? Hunting my own food and eating a bucket of testicles.
I wonder, like, I don't know how they measure testosterone, but I would be interested to know if, like, I have regular testosterone levels for a man of my age, or whether I'm under, because I feel like I'm probably unders.
Oh man. I guess, I mean, I would be for sure, I imagine. Like, but I don't know. Like, how does it manifest itself? What are the signs that you have a high level of testosterone? Like,
I don't know.
Okay. Like high, what do I do? Symptoms of high level of testosterone? Symptoms?
Indicators, high level testosterone indicators. Okay. Like, is it your balls? Do your balls have something to do with it? You sun them or something, right? To increase testosterone? That's what Tucker Carlson his documentary was all about. Tan your balls, I'm pretty sure.
Was it really? Okay, here we go. men with high testosterone can testosterone, I can't even say it, is the primary hormone behind
That's how low in testosterone
I
you
have.
are. You can't even
Literally,
pronounce it.
first test in our testosterone. Is how can you can you say testosterone?
This is bullshit. Testosterone. The first test in our testosterone test.
Yes.
The first. Yeah.
All right. This is going to be such a challenge for me. Testosterone is the primary hormone behind muscle building, fat burning, libido,
Yeah, baby. Woo.
and even strongly affects mood and energy. The testicles, Dr. Charlie,
Yeah.
are the main source of
This is what I'm going to be like after I take my supplements. Fuck yeah.
the testicles are the main source of testosterone. I mean, I guess it's in the name, right? Production in men.
Testosterone.
Yeah. While the ovaries are in charge of producing this sex hormone in women. Okay, so your testosterone comes from your ovaries if you're a woman. In general, men begin to experience an increase in testosterone production during puberty, with testosterone levels gradually declining starting at about age 30.
Right.
When natural testosterone levels begin to lower, both men and women can experience a number of different symptoms. Now, I don't want like signs of low testosterone. I want like signs of high testosterone.
Too much testosterone.
Yeah, high testosterone causes. Excess testosterone in men can result from testicular or adrenal tumors. Oh, okay. So you don't want high testosterone. No. Even if these tumors are benign, they can still boost testosterone levels. Oh, so what you need is some benign tumors in your balls, and that'll get your testosterone right up.
So I wonder if that relates to steroids. Like, you know that your nuts are meant to shrink if you take steroids? Like, I wonder if like the steroids squeeze out all the testosterone from your balls and so they end up smaller. Is that how it works?
Like a shrinky dink you put in the oven. They can still boost testosterone levels to unhealthy levels, as can steroid use or abuse. So there you go.
Okay.
It'll also, if raising your testosterone will raise your bad cholesterol levels and can lead to heart health issues. There you go, potentially resulting in heart attack, cardiovascular disease, or stroke. Risk of sleep apnea and infertility is also heightened if you have high testosterone levels. So you can be infertile if you have high testosterone too.
Yeah, right. Does it say anything about, because the weird thing about the Liver King and, you know, his whole philosophy about eating organs is like they're rich in nutrients and, you know, like balls is, and it's like, is that scientifically accurate that you eat the balls from another animal that you absorb their powers? It seems like fucking
not how
like witchcraft.
It's not how it works. It's not how it's ever worked. No.
It's like a virgin, like, you know, you consume the virgin's body, you absorb their innocence.
I mean, if that was the case, if you were doing leg day at the gym, you'd only have chicken drumsticks. Like, it doesn't work like that.
It really, I want to run fast. I'm going to eat the legs of a cheetah. Imagine that's how you got the power. It's just like, I need to climb walls, going to eat a spider. In fact, after my trip to Cambodia, I should have been able to shoot web out of my ass.
Exactly.
In fact, after I ate that spider, I had shot something out of my ass. It was not web. To see the full video, join our Patreon.
Patreon.com/Tofop.